I'm Congressman Jim Clyburn, here in historic... Good evening. I'm Congressman Jim Clyburn, here in historic Charleston, South Carolina. 6 months ago, I stood not far from here and endorsed Joe Biden to be our 46th president. It was a decision I made...
Jim Clyburn had to start himself again.
For 80% of African Americans in this country can claim an ancestor who arrived on these shores in bondage. A few blocks from here, over at Gadsden's Wharf. This community that is still healing from the wounds we received from the white supremacists entered Emmanuel AME Church and murdered 9 black parishioners as they studied the Bible together. The ground beneath our feet is seeded with pain that is both old and new. But from that soil,
He ain't lying.
we'll always find a way to grow together.
He ain't lying.
Earlier this summer, the city of Charleston removed its statue honoring John C. Calhoun, an honored advocate of slavery. And construction is underway on the International African American Museum at Gadsden's Wharf. Much like the country as a whole, we are stepping out from the shadows of our past and beginning to lay the groundwork for a more just future. It won't be easy. We can only succeed if we move forward together. So we will need a president who sees unifying people as a requirement of the job. A president who understands the true meaning of community and how to build it through trust and humility. And with so many families
Others like backhanded swipes at Trump.
Lost jobs, lost loved ones, and lost confidence in the president.
Oh shit!
We need a president who understands both profound loss and what
Oh
it takes to bounce
shit.
back.
Maybe this
But
will
more
work.
important than his first-hand
Oh,
experience
that thing's
with
got a
loss
fucking
and
lock
hardship
on it.
is his ability to translate
You've been booted!
into policy and solutions.
Well, let's just auto run that.
Prioritize hard-working people and persistent poverty counties over partisan politics or personal gain. That's why I stand with Joe, and why he will always be an adopted son of South Carolina. Joe Biden, as he is a leader, and wish to reiterate tonight, we know Joe, but more importantly, Joe knows us.
I am Kevin. I do a lot of things in life, but the thing I'm most proud of is
Come on.
I'm a military mentor, and that's how I spend the majority of my time. We build together is the single best.
Who's waiting out there like that? That's ridiculous.
Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your lives and sharing the journeys for the past decade. We've got about 500 kids and family members and mentors, and we're all packed into this very large ballroom. And all of a sudden, the back door opens up, and in walks Joe Biden. I had almost an out-of-body experience because he surprised us all. You know, I like to think I'm decent at reading people. From my time in the Marine Corps, my time as an intel officer, my time as a drill instructor, my time studying psychology. He was being real. I mean, you can't fake that kind of a smile. He was genuinely happy to see these kids and spend time with them. It's easy to lose faith in humanity, especially today. There's a lot of polarization. Leaves a lot of room for a lot of hope.
Darn right, it's easy to lose faith in humanity. Yeah, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and every other party that wants to be part of the American political system.
But it's almost like none of that matters if you don't have the character. This is a very unprecedented and challenging time that requires...
It's almost like the party system isn't the best system, and it doesn't lead us to the greatness and the full potential we could have.
I know Joe.
It's almost like that, huh?
Because he cares about everybody else before himself.
Just going to drop in here for a quick second. Programming at the Democratic National Convention continues. I think we'll find also several
coming up, Michelle Obama!
Pieces, for example, Jim Clyburn's speech, very obviously live. There are some little foibles and technical difficulties in the live stuff. Then interspersed with these tape pieces, including some music. Our next big, just to give you a signpost, our next big speech, but I think will be the longest speech that we've had thus far, will be from New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's going to speak about COVID
hot evil Longoria is. Oh my god. You're so beautiful, I can barely pay attention to the words coming out of your mouth. Not because of misogynistic ideas, just because you're that freaking beautiful. Can't help it.
New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Hello. Today's Monday, day 170. New Yorkers were ground zero for the COVID virus and have gone from one of the highest infection rates on the globe to one of the lowest. We climbed the impossible mountain, and right now we are on the other side. We did it with the kindness and assistance of so many. New Yorkers want to thank everyone who came to our aid. 30,000 Americans who volunteered to come here to help in our hour of need. Your love gave us the strength to carry on.
Comparing Ebola to COVID, what bullshit.
I have no idea what you're talking about, buddy. Whoever just made a message.
Fuck Trump, but fuck Biden too. Politics suck.
Well, sadly, that's the part of life. You're right, they both suck. But you're gonna have one of them jammed down your throat, so you better figure out which one you want. They're coming regardless of whether you want them or not.
Only a strong body can fight off the virus, and America's divisions weakened it. Donald Trump didn't create the initial division. The division created Trump. He only made it worse. Our collective strength is exercised through government. It is, in effect, our immune system. And our current federal government is dysfunctional and incompetent. It couldn't fight off the virus. In fact, it didn't even see it coming. The European virus infected the Northeast while the White House was still fixated on China. The virus had been attacking us for months before they even knew it was here.
God damn, he's bringing out the fucking claws. He gonna try to fucking...
I got diagnosed with coronavirus the other day and my son was absolutely terrified when I pulled my butthole out and started to spray blood.
I don't know what you're talking about,
So
buddy.
today, 6 months after it began, the nation is still unprepared. And we now face a second threat.
I'm dead.
This is a man-made threat by our own negligence. We now see the virus ricocheting across the country, from one state to another. Today, we trail the world in defeating COVID. We have over 5 million cases. Americans learned a critical lesson: how vulnerable we are when we are divided, and how many lives can be lost when our government is incompetent. But we learned something.
I got COVID and blood was forcefully shot out of my prolapsed asshole onto the dog and it scared my child. Any advice?
That our way succeeded. That America can still rise to the occasion.
Yeah, get a life. That's my
Government
advice. Do
can
something
tell the
better with
truth
your
and to
time.
build trust. We can judge
Than
by
making
content of character rather than
weird
color
ass
of skin.
comments
We can care for one another.
that are gonna get
That
filtered
Americans
back.
can work together and forge community and a competent government. That of course we will wear masks because we are smart and because I care about you and because you care about me. Of course we will socially distance because staying away shows how close we actually are. Yes, we will set up testing and tracing and do whatever we need to do to mobilize to win this battle because we are America. We win wars. And we are the greatest country on the globe. And for all the years, our
What the fuck?
and it was beautiful. Angels are strong. And that Americans
We're America, we win wars. That's what he says.
At the end of the day, even if it is a long day, that love wins. Americans' eyes have been opened.
We're America, we win wars. That's what you said, you fucking idiot.
And leadership matters.
Oh my
And it
god.
determines whether we thrive and grow or whether we live or die.
Like I have to leave this match, I'm probably gonna get fucking bounced out.
A leader who appeals to the best within us, not the worst.
A leader
Yep.
who can unify, not
Stuck
divide.
in the ever-ending loop.
A leader who can bring us up, not tear us down. I know that man. I've worked with that man. I've seen his talent. I've seen his strength.
Oh,
I've seen
made
his
it out.
pain, and I've seen his heart. That man is Joe Biden. Joe Biden is what I call America tough. Tough in the best way.
America tough. I've never heard anyone say that before.
Disciplined and loving.
Boston
Joe
strong,
Biden
American
can restore
tough.
the soul of America. And that's exactly what our country needs today. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mario Cuomo.
And now we'll hear
Oh wait,
from
you're not
Kristen
Mario
Urquiza.
Cuomo, you're Chris Cuomo. Oh wait, no, you're not
Hi,
Chris Cuomo,
I'm
you're the
Kristen
other
Urquiza.
Cuomo.
I'm one of the many who has lost a loved one to COVID. My dad, Mark Anthony Urquiza, should be here today, but he isn't. He had faith in Donald Trump. He voted for him, listened to him, believed him and his mouthpieces when they said that coronavirus was under control and going to disappear. That it was okay to end social distancing rules before it was safe. And that if you had no underlying health conditions, you'd probably be fine. Come late May, after the
Don't take
stay-at-home
your
order was lifted in
medical
Arizona,
advice from Donald
my
Trump,
dad went to
a
karaoke bar
businessman,
with his
not a
friends.
doctor.
A few weeks later, he was put on a ventilator. And after 5 agonizing days, he died alone.
You're best off going
In the
to your own
ICU
personal
with a
doctor
nurse
and
holding
getting
his
your
hand.
medical advice from them.
My dad was a healthy 65-year-old. His only pre-existing condition was trusting Donald Trump, and for that, he paid with his life.
However, you shouldn't
Any
die.
advice
because
on
of
what
that.
you should do around
Once I
nippers
told my
that smell
story,
really bad?
a lot of people reached out to me to share theirs. They asked me to help them keep their communities safe, especially communities of color, which have been disproportionately affected. They asked me, a normal person, to help, because Donald Trump won't. The coronavirus has made it clear that there are two Americas. The America that Donald Trump lives in, and the America that my father died
Yo,
in.
Jessica.
Enough is enough. Donald Trump may not have caused the coronavirus, but his dishonesty and his irresponsible actions made it so much worse. We need a leader who has a national, coordinated, data-driven response to stop this pandemic
That was real bad.
from claiming more lives and to safely reopen the country. We need a leader who will step in on day one and do his job, to care. One of the last things that my father said to me was that he felt betrayed by the likes of Donald Trump. And so when I cast my vote for Joe Biden, I will do it for my dad.
Who else you gonna cast your vote for
Thank
besides
you,
Joe
Kristen,
Biden?
for sharing your
Or
story.
is it
Our
a
nation
one-man
grieves for your
voting
father
pool?
and all those who have we've lost to this virus. It's a toll that hasn't fallen equally on us. People
Why
of
wouldn't
color
you
have been
use this
disproportionately
convention
affected, dying at
to
greater rates
frickin'
than
speak
white
out for a
Americans,
bunch
but
of
we can
other
honor
candidates as
all
well,
of
instead of
those
just
who've
focusing
lost
on the
by giving
presidential
Joe Biden and
general
Kamala
election?
Harris the opportunity to put in place a real national plan that tests
Especially at a
and
time
tracks,
like this when
that
you're not
makes
even having
sure
a
that
goddamn
access to a
convention.
vaccine will be fair, and turns the full power of our government
Put
toward making
on
sure we
for
have
your
supplies
friends.
and technology and
You
people,
little party
scientists
people.
and public health officials and contact tracers. We need to stop this. So right now, let's hear from a champion for our frontline workers, who also happens to be an Olympic champion and a World Cup champion, Megan Rapinoe.
Megan Rapinoe!
Hi, everybody. My
Hey,
name
yo!
is Megan Rapinoe, and I have a distinct honor today.
I'm pretty
to
sure
host a
Megan Rapinoe was the one who ripped her
with
goddamn
four
shirt off
of our
after she
frontline workers here in America,
scored a goal
nickname them,
and won the
heroes,
fucking game.
absolutely. Chung Lee, can you tell us a
Rapinoe
little
rips her
bit
shirt
about how
off,
you're doing during this time?
So early on, when the government was still trying
goes
to
wild, slides on her knees, celebrates the fucking goal, and a legendary American history moment is made. Oh shit, what the fuck? What the fuck?
To continue to take care of the sick, and what got me originally was watching people die alone. There were no visitors allowed. Everyone was totally isolated, and I knew how that felt because for 2 weeks that was me.
real quick, I'm gonna go heal up before things get bad out here.
People's moms, dads, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, all dying alone. And we know there's a round two coming, and mentally, physically, emotionally, I don't know how many of us on the front lines are gonna survive that second round.
Okay.
Dr. Bradley, what effects are you seeing inside your hospital doors of the inaction of the Trump administration when it comes to this COVID response?
It's heavy. I mean, I've left the emergency department in tears, and so have a lot of my colleagues.
Okay,
People are
96
exhausted, and we're looking at the tsunami that's coming this winter with COVID and influenza. And I think all of us are wondering how
COVID influenza.
just collapse. Because we're not there.
Oh shit.
When people come with their broken hearts, when they come with their heart attacks and strokes,
What the fuck?
we're not going to be there.
Holy
What were you
shit.
seeing on the front line
Why is that so
in those
bad?
very early days that you knew it wasn't going to magically disappear? Did you think it was a hoax then?
Oh, absolutely, we knew that this was not a hoax. We were certain of it. All of us knew from experience back in 2009 with the swine flu. We knew.
Hello, Jessica.
We knew that we needed to have the tools and the resources and the plans in place. But then we have the ineptitude and the lack of leadership from this administration. I've seen the worst of the worst. Not only have I answered thousands of calls of people that are sick, but people that are dying.
Michelle, talk a little bit about how it's been for you on the front line, what your specific role is.
As a union nurse, I've been primarily more at the forefront on advocating that
You love pandas.
and our patients get the support and the PPE that they need.
Shit, someone's shooting. Who's that? Oh, must
I
be
was
there. 24. He's knocked.
You know, the first time that I ever feared.
Don't finish, don't finish. Let's shake him.
And my family's walking.
Let's
into
shake
work
him.
Was in my own country. We have the money, we have the means, we have the resources in this country. We are deeply lacking leadership and somebody who cares. Trump has made it perfectly clear how he feels.
Medkit.
And we need a president who cares. That's Joe Biden.
Dr. Bradley Dreyfus, Aldo Martinez, Michelle Boyle, and Chung Lee, I can't thank you enough. The American people are forever indebted to you, to your work and your
I saw a Nicker the other day and I was terrified that the Nicker was going to steal from me and force his Nicker peep into my YWI.
There's no way we could ever repay you, so
Who literally goes onto someone else's stuff and writes that? That's entertaining for you? That's the entertainment and no life you have is to get on a freaking computer and you're better off playing a video game like I am than doing that, but cool, bro. Sounds awesome.
However, now, with Donald Trump in office,
I don't need that stuff.
Yes, it is fun. I am empowering the white race.
That's not empowering the white race. That's what you call empowerment? How warped of a
You
mind
are
do
a
you
Nick that
have?
probably lives in his mom's basement and is scared of Nickers.
Clearly I live in my own house. What are you talking about? You think that that's empowerment. You have literally your definition of empowerment is so askew, it's unbelievable. I bet you get the word ignorant tossed at you all the time. You seem very educated.
I'm Sarah Gideon, and I'm running to
Learn
represent
about
Maine
real
in the U.S.
empowerment.
Senate. Every day, I see the caring and resilient spirits that will get us through this crisis.
Uh-oh, where's
Americans
Jessica?
are looking out for one another. It's
Where
time
is
we had
Jessica?
leadership in Washington that did the same. With Joe Biden in the White House and a Democratic Senate, I know we can build back our economy and our communities even stronger. But today, I am here to welcome someone who has strong ties to our state and is here in
Yo, what up, Jesse?
She is reminding all of us to keep fighting
We're here.
with her song that she's performing.
Started from the bottom.
Please help me welcome someone who's an inspiration to all of us and one of my favorite artists, Maggie Rogers.
You might want to also realize that I'm not a fucking Democrat, you weird fuck. So it's not like you're insulting me when you try to make all sorts of weird comments like that. But it does boost my engagement factor, so whether it's a dumbass comment or a smartass comment, they all count the same towards the analytics. You're just uplifting mine.
Did you steal that smiley pillow from a small white child that you forced your old weird body onto her while fondling her toddler parts with?
That's weird. That thing's like probably 20-something plus years old. That smiley.
There is 2 dislikes and 1 view.
And I don't care what you say. Congratulations. You're the one who's sitting here watching and commenting. What does that say about you? Figure it out.
You look like you have the nipples the size of an Olive Garden meatball.
I can't even understand what you're saying. Sounds like some sort of Italian insult. Thanks. Not really worried about your thoughts, buddy. Did you hit a launch pad, dude? Oh, dude. Lady. Jessica. Frickin'. Who are all these people clapping? That's a little weird.
In Maine, she was introduced by Sarah Gideon, who's the Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate in Maine. She's the Speaker of the Maine House of Representatives. She's running what looks like a very strong campaign against Susan Collins, the incumbent.
You look like you have huge areolas from all the fatty products you eat on a daily basis while doing nothing but playing video games.
Is that what you think that I do with my life? You'd be really fucking unbelievable. You think I just earn a living and pay for my way by sitting on my ass
Yes, and
playing
Fortnite,
video
a game
games?
for children.
Clearly you don't know the history of Fortnite, but thank you. You're sitting here watching someone play Fortnite. Like, do you don't know what irony is, or what?
Because we don't have the money for that kind of equipment. We're going to have classrooms packed with students, and so the virus is going to be hard to contain. So this is very dangerous for the safety of our kids. The new leadership
Fortnite is for children.
Why are you watching Fortnite? You're watching someone play a child's game. What does that say about you? I'm gonna pop you, bitch. From behind you, pop you.
Hello, America. I'm Governor Gretchen Whitmer, or as Donald Trump calls me, that woman from Michigan. Tonight I'm here at UAW Local 652 in Lansing, Michigan. Auto workers in this union and across our state could have lost their jobs if not for...
Whoa, shit got bad over there, Jessica. I had to bail hard.
The Obama-Biden administration inherited the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. The auto industry on the brink of collapse. 1 million jobs at stake. But President Obama and Vice President Biden didn't waste time blaming anyone else or shirking their responsibility. They got to work.
They brought together union members, companies,
Yeah, I see. I had people all over me on that. I can't believe I got out of that.
the auto industry. And when you know, just a few months ago, as our nation began battling COVID-19, auto workers across Michigan sprang into action. They started making protective equipment for doctors and nurses on the front lines. Let me break it down. President Obama and Vice President Biden saved these auto workers' livelihoods. Then these workers did their part to save American lives. That's the story of this great nation. Action begets action. Progress begets progress. And when we work together, we can accomplish anything. After all, democracy is a team sport, especially now. It's crucial that we rally together to fight this virus and build our economy back better. From the jump, we took this seriously in Michigan. We listened to medical experts. We planned. And with a lot of work from the auto workers and too little help from the White House, we executed.
Just trying to stay alive right here, Jessica.
We saved thousands of lives. Just imagine if we had a national strategy. So everyone who needs a test gets one for free. So everyone has access to a safe vaccine. So our kids and educators have the resources they need to safely get back to school. With Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the White House, we will. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will lead by example. It'll be science, not politics or ego, that will drive their decisions.
Whoa, 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 Jessica, I can't come get you now.
People goes hand in hand with the strength of our
Sorry.
They know action.
She gone.
Action. Over the past few months, we've learned what's essential.
Gretchen Whitmer, look at her in her fucking leather jacket.
We've learned who is
Wow, that's a look.
not just the wealthiest among us.
It's kind of an evil stepmom type of look, but hey.
Rather than fight the virus that's
Hot
killing
red
us in
lips,
our economy.
red shirt,
It's
leather
the people who
jacket.
put their own health at risk to care for the rest of us. They are the
Maybe take a
MVPs.
hint from Eva
The
Longoria
nurses and
next
the
time.
doctors, the utility workers, truck drivers, and grocery clerks, the child care workers, the parents, the teachers, the mail carriers, and the auto workers. So many of these essential workers have lost
Everyone's
their
on
lives
top
to
of me.
COVID.
This is ridiculous.
Nearly 1,000 healthcare workers, more than 170,000 people across America, including a 5-year-old girl named Skylar from Detroit, whose mom is a police officer and dad is a firefighter. Generation after generation, our nation has been defined by what we do, or what we fail to do. So, for Skylar, for her parents, and in the memory of all those we've lost, let us act. Let us heal as one nation. Let us find strength to do the work.
I've been down this road before. I remember every tree,
There's no way.
every single blade of grass. There's a place for me. And I remember every town, every hotel room, every song I ever sang on a guitar out of tune. And I remember every night.
What the fuck are you fucking kidding me? How are you splashing? Unbelievable.
We, the people, means all the people, even those with whom we might not agree, even those we might not expect to at the Democratic Convention. The Joe Biden has earned the respect he commands across the world and across the aisle. States in this election call for that kind of leadership. We have to think about one party. We have to think about the very core of our democracy. That's why unexpected voices.
I'm Governor Christie Todd Whitman.
What am I doing here? I'm a lifelong Republican. My parents were introduced to the Republican National Convention by their parents. That's how far back it goes. But this isn't about a Republican or Democrat. It's about a person. A person decent enough, stable enough, strong enough to get our economy back on track. A person who can work with everyone, Democrats and Republicans, to get things done. Donald Trump isn't that person. Joe Biden is.
I'm Meg Whitman. I'm a longtime Republican and a longtime CEO. And let me tell you, Donald Trump has no clue how to run a business, let alone an economy. Joe Biden, on the other hand, has a plan that will strengthen our economy for working people and small business owners. For me, the choice is simple. I'm with Joe.
Hi, I'm Susan Molinari. I'm a former Republican member of Congress from New York City, and I've known Donald Trump for most of my political career. So disappointing and lately so disturbing. Now, I've also gotten to know and work with Joe Biden on issues related to women that are so important to all of us. Women in business, violence against women. That's why I'm so proud to call him my friend and honored to join in supporting his candidacy for president. He's a really good man, and he's exactly what this nation needs at this time. Now I'm delighted and honored to introduce a former colleague of mine, the former Congressman from Ohio, the former Governor of Ohio, John Kasich.
America is at a crossroads. Sometimes elections represent a real choice, a choice we make as individuals and as a nation about which path we want to take when we've come to challenging times. America is at that crossroads today. The stakes in this election are greater than any in modern times. Many of us have been deeply concerned about the current path we've been following for the past 4 years. It's a path that's led to division, dysfunction, irresponsibility, and growing vitriol between our citizens. Continuing to follow that path will have terrible consequences for America's soul, because we're being taken down the wrong road by a president who is pitted one against the other. He's unlike all of our best leaders before him, who worked to unite us, to bridge our differences, and lead us to a united America. I'm a lifelong Republican, but that attachment holds second place to my responsibility to my country. That's why I've chosen to appear at this convention. In normal times, something like this would probably never happen, but these are not normal times. I'm proud of my Republican heritage. It's the party of Lincoln, reflected its founding principles of unity and a higher purpose. But what I have witnessed these past 4 years belies those principles. Many of us can't imagine 4 more years going down this path. And that's why I'm asking you to join with me in choosing a better way forward. I believe the best of America lies ahead, but only when we rediscover our shared belief in the United States of America, for our children's future, which can be bright, hopeful, and inspired if we choose to make it so. I've known Joe Biden for 30 years. I know his story of profound grief that has so deeply affected his character. I know Joe is a good man, a man of faith, a unifier, someone who understands the hopes and dreams of the common man and the common woman, a man who can help us to see the humanity in each other. He knows that the path to a restored and rejuvenated America lies in respect and unity and a common purpose for everyone. Yes, there are areas where Joe and I absolutely disagree, but that's okay, because that's America. Because whatever our differences, we respect one another as human beings, each of us searching for justice and for purpose. We can all see what's going on in our country today, and all the questions that are facing us, and no one person or party has all the answers. But what we do know is that we can do better than what we've been seeing today, for sure. And I know that Joe Biden, with his experience and his wisdom and his decency, can bring us together to help us find that better way. I'm sure there are Republicans and independents who couldn't imagine crossing over to support a Democrat. They fear Joe may turn sharp left and leave them behind. I don't believe that, because I know the measure of the man. It's reasonable, faithful, respectful. And you know, no one pushes Joe around. Joe Biden is a man for our times times that call for all of us to take off our partisan hats.
Joe Biden is so old. He definitely will get pushed around. What are you talking about? Joe Biden will be pushed around and told what to do every day for their entire presidential, however long that lasts, which will probably be less than 4 years. Let's be honest. Joe Biden gets told what the right ideas are and who to follow and what should be done, despite what he might feel.
A lifelong Republican.
A lifelong Republican. And a long-standing Republican. And I'm telling you, you gotta vote for Joe Biden.
I have voted for and campaigned for Republicans since the Reagan years, but I won't be voting for Donald Trump in November.
I'm supporting Joe Biden for president.
We need a positive leader, someone who can work both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats.
We need someone who is super old still, but is not Donald Trump. Cool, bro. Awesome story.
Joe Biden is a decent man with a long history of public service to America.
He will restore order and integrity.
Yeah, a long history. So move on and let someone else do the thing. You'll never get full normalcy in decency. It's never been that way. Hopefully it can get less terrible. Now it's just not about substance at all. Still just passionate about substance. You fucking
But it was here in Alabama where Rosa Parks helped ignite a movement by refusing to give up her seat on a bus. Where freedom riders of different races came together and pursued their reform. And it was here in Alabama where John Lewis marched across a bridge toward freedom. From a young age, I knew the hope that comes from seeing good people to heal our divisions. This led me to become the United States Attorney, where I convicted 2 Klansmen who murdered 4 young black girls in a 1963 Birmingham church bombing and delivered long overdue justice. I'm standing in front of an exhibit dedicated to their memory. Alabama has shown me that even our deepest divisions can be overcome, because each of us want the same thing: to be treated fairly and given the same opportunities, and the freedom to live with dignity and respect. Now, some politicians try to pit us against each other, but I believe that Americans have more in common than what divides us. And in November, we have a chance to elect a president who believes that too. I've known Joe for more than 40 years. I met him as a wide-eyed law student, and he's been my friend and champion ever since. The Joe I know is exactly
Doug Jones. And look how old you are now. You met Joe a long time ago. Like, do these people even hear themselves?
And get things done for working families and everyone looking for a better future. Because it's not about what side of the aisle we're on. It's about whether or not we're on the side of the people. The great John Lewis would often quote the old African proverb, when you pray, move your feet.
Whether or not
and then
you're on
challenge
the
us
side
to
of
do
the
just that.
people. No, it's
As a
not.
nation, he said, if we care for the beloved community, we must move our feet, our hands, our resources to build and not tear down, to reconcile and not to divide, to love and not to hate, to heal and not to hate. We are one people, one family, one marriage,
That girl extra skinny, huh?
It is central that so much of our lives, veterans count on Social Security beneficiaries count on the post office to get their checks. Grandparents depend on the post office to send birthday cards to their grandkids. Small businesses need the post office to do business. And guess what? The post office is also one of the ways we cast. To find out how to exercise the person, text vote to 30330. And here to say more is the first woman elected to the United States Senate,
Are you TikToking up there? This person's a TikTok dancer on my back of my boat. We don't do that.
Some Americans choose to vote in a voting booth with a mask on, while many of us will choose to vote by mail. My instinct took the advice of scientists and medical experts.
Oh, now you see why I did that, huh?
My mail system, so voters have a lot of options this fall. Because of our vote by mail system. That's funding our schools and seniors rely on. He has challenged us in court with a meritless lawsuit, one that our Republican Secretary of State has asked the judge to dismiss.
Don't take that. That's
Putting the lives of Nevada's seniors at risk by trying to defund the post office. Here's what that means.
You can take the blue one. You can take the blue one. You can take the blue one. Yes.
Because he wants to win an election.
I guess you're taking my boat now. You're going the wrong way. I don't know what you're doing.
We are united by shared values, shared history, and shared rights.
TikTok girl over here is trying to take my boat and leave.
And this fall, we will send Joe Biden to the White House and we'll flip
I
the
ain't
U.S.
done with
Senate.
that.
With Mitch McConnell out of power and a Democratic majority in the Senate, we will expand voting access and protect voting rights. To do this, America, we need you on our side. So go to joebiden.com right now to chip in. And then head over to flipthesenate.com to help us take back the Senate. Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell know how to divide. But we know how to stand together.
This guy wants cars. Why would you get rid of a boat for a car? A car you gotta fill with gas. The boat is unlimited. Look how, dude, Evil Longoria is just on fire. Dude, look at you, bro. Just a frickin' knockout.
This party, the Democratic Party, welcomes everyone, encourages everyone to lead, and invites everyone's ideas to ensure this country builds back better.
Show.
This is what our next speaker believes too. Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Fireworks off of her. She got the hot stuff. Hi, Amy. How the fuck is that thing not? Where are you at? Oh no, that did not just happen. Wow, amazing disaster. That is one of the worst situations. Oh my god, now I'm gonna be stuck here too.
We need a president who will look out for the seniors, like my dad, whose families know visiting through glass windows, never knowing if it will be the last time they see them. We need a president for all of America.
Let's go. What do we got? Can we use this? Can we use this? No.
Common ground to reach higher ground. That's been Joe Biden's life's work. He's a man of scrappy, working class roots.
Scrappy! Working class people!
Only made him more determined to lift up those who've been left out.
No, he's not scrappy.
Redemption, and he knows
His dad was working class. He's a train riding politician.
Barack Obama,
Correct.
better known tonight as Michelle's husband, he leaned on Joe for his strength and decency, and you can too.
Now you're gonna lend yourself to Barack Obama's name, huh? Hello, my buddy. Did you know Barack Obama was the president when I was the vice president? And because of that,
Joe ran for the same reasons I did.
you should like me, because he liked me.
On the banks of the Mississippi River, to cross the river of our divides, to bring this nation together, to be a president for all of America. As I said the day I endorsed him, if you feel stuck in the middle of the extremes in our politics,
in the corner, jammed up in the fence line.
you have a home with
What?
me, and you have a home with Joe Biden. That's why I was so proud to stand with him then and across this great country. That's why we are all now standing united behind Joe and my friend Kamala. Our nation's
Kamala! Kamala will be running things, thank you.
It's also the story of the Democratic primary. Thank you, America.
I got 40 seconds. Ooh, we're gonna hear a little pre-roll video. Ooh, look at, ooh, Kamala. We got.
I thought to myself, what are you willing to do to stop him?
You have the most destructive, hateful, racist president in the history of this country who is literally tearing apart the fabric of
Thing is, if you run for president, you probably ain't gonna lose your Senate seat. Put that in your book. Let everyone know. That's how it goes, because you get so much extra press. What the fuck was that? Are you kidding me? Offensive.
Passing a national paid leave bill.
student loan debt, mental health.
We gotta sneak up on these guys to our north.
Economic justice, racial justice.
And there is so much a new president can do to bring us together.
Get up.
Starting a presidential campaign is daunting. I mean, you have to reach hundreds of millions of people.
You have these incredibly long days, often kept off by these evening events that go on for hours and hours. Your challenge as a candidate is to be true to yourself and true to why you ran in the first place. That is something, by the way, that I really admire about Joe Biden. He really is his own man. He knows who he is.
Joe Biden is somebody who deeply cares about people. People who
Put my thing down. There's only 10 people left. Still think I can do it.
I'm a DACA recipient, and I owe you every penny. You're steady, man. You know, he's had some hard times in his life. He's had some losses in his life. And I think that is something that people...
close to 15 years cancer-free.
He's 75 years old. He's had some hard times in his life. No shit.
We need that in the White House.
I still remember standing side by side with him on the debate stage, and we were having a go of it. But what was remarkable to me was in the commercial break, he puts his arm around me and starts telling me how good my ideas are. And next thing you know, I feel like he's giving me a pep talk and literally telling me how important it is. How really important it is that I'm on that stage. Joe called me the night I suspended and was extraordinarily gracious and comforting, and he told me I should be proud of myself, said that I did myself and my family a real service and the country a service, and that meant a lot coming from Joe.
Look, it's not easy to unite the Democratic Party. We're a rambunctious group. Joe Biden has pulled it off.
He wants to get the best ideas on the table so we can
My family was right.
Around a clean energy strategy.
affects Americans. It really doesn't. This is a guy that blames everyone for everything. You know, he blames the city of Baltimore. He blames the country of Denmark. He blames the Prime Minister of Canada for cutting him out of the Canadian version of Home Alone 2. Who does that?
There are no sidelines. We're sitting this one out. There's no hoping that someone else can come in and save the day. There is no cavalry. We are the cavalry. The moment has found the person. That person is Joe Biden.
Joe has my vote because he will bring decency and dignity back to the White House.
We've got one shot to make Donald Trump a one-term president. And that shot is right now. Mr. President, right here.
We understand that things are tough right now economically, but if we're going to beat Donald Trump in November, we need your help. If you're able to go to joebiden.com and chip in $5, $10, whatever you can, to fund the change we need to save our democracy, because every bit matters, and it's going to take all of us to make this happen, and no one knows that more than our next speaker, our Biden-Harris campaign's co-chair, Representative Cedric Richmond from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Think about the places that make your neighborhood feel like home. The barbershop where you can catch up on the latest neighborhood news while you get your hair cut. The restaurant where they know your order by heart. Or this art studio where a creative guy with a great idea and a ton of hustle turned an abandoned building into a second home for the entire community. You know, economists will tell you that small businesses like this one are critically important to our recovery. But they're also just plain important. Without them, the places we call home just wouldn't be the same. That's the thing Joe Biden understands that Donald Trump never has and never will. When we talk about the economy, it's not just about the stock market. It's about whether you can find work that really means something to you, instead of feeling like you're supposed to be grateful just to get a paycheck. It's about whether people who didn't inherit millions from their parents can build a business from the ground up and have a real chance to compete. It's about whether in the richest country on earth, and people of color feel included and empowered. Economists will also tell you that Joe Biden's plan to rebuild our economy will create millions of jobs. But Joe will tell you that his plan is about more than that, because he's seen the world from a different perspective than most politicians. He knows what it's like to live in a real neighborhood, not just penthouse apartments. He knows what it's like to take the train to work, not just a chauffeured limousine. That's why he looks at our economic challenges the same way. Joe Biden respects America's workers because he truly understands.
Wow. When is Michelle coming? Kind of done with this game. Oh, he took the train, remember? Never heard that story before. Flipped over and over and over and over again.
Joe was a regular. He bought rounds of coffee for fellow passengers and crew. And he got to know the people he traveled with.
These guys broke their necks. They're always rocking, keeping their balance, collecting tickets, helping with their bags that are heavy as hell. And they're doing this for hours. And we became really good friends. He was very interested in my life, my children. As time went on, my grandchildren. People don't do that today. People don't even take time out to say hello or nod their head to the average working person. They looked at us like we were important people.
He would treat the conductor the same as he would...
Because you are important people.
That is what Dad taught us.
Shouldn't be fucking...
deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. After Joe became vice president, he cut
And sure enough, it was Vice President Biden asking me how I'm doing. He wanted to know the whole story. It's kind of funny, you're talking to the Vice President of the United States, but if I would have told the people in the barbershop, I don't think they would have believed me. I'm not saying it like it was me and I was anything special. Everybody was special to him. We have heroes all over this country, and a lot of the
Really, the authority?
we don't even see that are behind the scenes.
Oh shit.
Keeping this country going. He understands that. The average guy is important to him. The average guy is important to him.
Good evening. Our great nation is now living in an unprecedented moment. We're facing the worst public health crisis in 100 years and the worst economic collapse since the Great Depression. We are confronting systemic racism and the enormous threat to our planet of climate change. And in the midst of all of this, we have a president who is not only incapable of addressing these crises, but is leading us down the path of authoritarianism. This election is the most important in the modern history of this country. In response to the unprecedented crises we face, we need an unprecedented response, a movement like never before, of people who are prepared to stand up and fight for democracy and decency, and against greed, oligarchy, and bigotry. And we need Joe Biden as the next president. Let me take this opportunity to say,
Well, that goes.
this year and in 2016. My friends, thank you for your trust, your support, and the love you showed Jane, me, and our family. Together, we have moved this country in a bold new direction, showing that all of us, black and white, Latino, Native American, Asian American, gay and straight, native
Get
born
Bernie.
and immigrant, yearn for a nation based on the principles of justice, love, and compassion. Our campaign ended several months ago.
There's a lot of Americans that would disagree with that.
And is getting stronger every day. Many of the ideas we fought for, that just a few years ago were considered radical, are now mainstream. But let us be clear. If Donald Trump is reelected, all the progress we have made will be in jeopardy. At its most basic, this election is about preserving our democracy. During this president's term, the unthinkable has become normal. He has tried to prevent people from voting, undermine the U.S. Postal Service, deployed the military and federal agents against peaceful protesters, threatened to delay the election, and suggested that he will not leave office if he loses. This is not normal.
It's not normal.
This administration, authoritarianism has taken root in our country. I and my family, and many of yours,
New driver update available. Let's get in there. Yeah, whoa, we got a new game ready driver for this RTX, sorry, it's an RTX 2080. Let's download that. Released 8/17, that's today. We'll express install that in a minute. Where are we going? What are you flashing? Did you already jump? Sweaty Sands. Okay, buddy. We're going.
Trump has attacked doctors and scientists trying to protect us from the pandemic while refusing to take
Preparing package. Okay.
our healthcare workers desperately need. Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Trump golfs. His actions fanned this pandemic, resulting in over
you little bitch.
170,000 deaths
Get slapped
and a
up.
nation still unprepared to protect its people. Furthermore, Trump's negligence has exacerbated the economic crisis we are now experiencing. Since this pandemic
Your
began,
negligence,
over
Mr.
30
Trump, has
million
caused
people
thousands of
have
people to
lost
lose their
jobs,
lives.
and many have lost their health insurance. Millions of working families are wondering how they will feed their kids, and they're worried that they will be evicted from their homes.
Family's not a wonder are going home.
Instead of maintaining the $600 a week unemployment supplement that workers were receiving, and the $1,200 emergency checks that many of you received, instead of helping small businesses, Trump concocted fraudulent executive orders that do virtually nothing to address the crisis while threatening the very future of Social Security and Medicare. But the truth is that even before Trump's negligent response to this pandemic, too many hard-working families have been caught on an economic treadmill with no hope of ever getting ahead. Together, we must build a nation that is more equitable, more compassionate, and more inclusive. I know that Joe Biden will begin that fight on day one. Let me offer you just a few examples of how Joe will move us forward. Joe supports raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. This will give 40 million workers a pay raise and push the wage scale up for everyone else. Joe will also make it easier for workers to join unions, create 12 weeks of paid family leave, fund universal pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds, and make child care affordable for millions of families. Joe will rebuild our crumbling infrastructure and fight the threat of climate change by transitioning us to 100% clean electricity over the next 15 years. These initiatives will create millions of good-paying jobs all across our country. As you know, we are the only industrialized nation not to guarantee health care for all people. While Joe and I disagree on the best path to get universal coverage, he has a plan that will greatly expand health care and cut the cost.
Bernie sold his soul. What the fuck am I watching?
Eligibility age of Medicare.
Bernie is trying to half endorse Joe Biden's policies on health care. Sounds like you don't give a fuck about having a backbone, Bernie.
Cash bail and the school to prison
Old man, so old he got flexible in the back.
The soul of our nation. Joe Biden will end the hate and division Trump has created. He will stop the demonization of immigrants, the coddling of white nationalists, the racist dog whistling, the religious bigotry, and the ugly attacks on women. My friends, I say to you, to everyone who supported other candidates in the primary, and to those who may have voted for Donald Trump in the last election, the future of our democracy is at stake. The future of our economy is at stake. The future of our planet is at stake. We must come together, defeat Donald Trump, and elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as our next president and vice president. My friends, the price of failure is just too great to imagine. Thank you.
My American dream is to have an America where we have people in affordable housing. But for every human being in this country to have access to quality
protects the workers and their families.
Joe Biden throughout his career has focused on rebuilding the middle class.
We need a leader that actually supports our unions for our hardworking people.
Real leadership to show genuine support for
Express installation. Do you want to allow this app to changes to your device? Yes. I'll be right back, buddy. You gotta leave for a second.
Me, thanks to their
Oh, Michelle, I missed you. Shit.
able to live that promise myself.
Shit, girl.
That's the story of America. All those folks who sacrificed and overcame so much in their own times because they wanted something more, something better for their kids. There's a lot of beauty in that story. There's a lot of pain in it too. A lot of struggle and injustice and work left to do. And who we choose as our president in this election will determine whether or not we honor that struggle and chip away at that injustice and keep alive the very possibility of finishing that work. I am one of a handful of people living today who have seen firsthand the immense weight that rests on the power of the presidency. And let me once again tell you this. The job is hard. It requires clear-headed judgment, a mastery of complex and competing issues, a devotion to facts and history, a moral compass, and an ability to listen, and an abiding belief that each of the 330 million lives in this country has meaning and worth. A president's words have the power to move markets. They can start wars or broker peace. They can summon our better angels or awaken our worst instincts. You simply cannot fake your way through this job. As I've said before, being president doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. Well, a presidential election can reveal who we are too. And 4 years ago, too many people chose to believe that their votes didn't matter. Maybe they were fed up. Maybe they thought the outcome wouldn't be close. Maybe the barriers felt too steep, whatever the reason. In the end, those choices sent someone to the Oval Office who lost the national popular vote by nearly 3 million votes. In one of the states that determined the outcome, the winning margin averaged out to just 2 votes per precinct. 2 votes. And we've all been living with the consequences. When my husband left office with Joe Biden at his side, we had a record-breaking stretch of job creation. We'd secured the right to health care for 20 million people. We were respected around the world, rallying our allies to confront climate change. And our leaders had worked hand in hand with scientists.
Nah, you didn't go down like that, bro.
From becoming a global
Come on
pandemic.
now. You went down, I'm coming right back.
4 years later, the state of this nation is very different. More than 150,000 people
Just getting the
have
PC
died,
updated.
and our economy is in shambles because
Probably should
of
go
a
update my
virus
other
that
one.
this president downplayed for too long.
Go lock it on.
It has left
Turn it up.
millions of people jobless.
Hit the buttons.
Too many have lost their health care. Too many are struggling to take care
Need to
of
reset them
basic
BIOS
necessities like food and rent. Too many
for the
communities have
lights.
been left in the lurch to grapple with whether and how to open our schools safely. Internationally, we've turned our back not just on agreements forged by my husband, but on alliances.
Oh, you still there?
By presidents
Buddy,
like
sorry.
Reagan
Alright,
and
I'm coming.
Eisenhower.
Holy shit, I
Here at home, as George Floyd,
Where you
Breonna
at, buddy?
Taylor, and a never-ending list of innocent people of color continue to be murdered, stating the simple fact that a Black Life Matters is
I don't
still
know if I'll
met
get there in
with
time.
derision from the nation's
14
highest
seconds,
office.
13 seconds, 12.
Because whenever we look to this White House for some leadership or consolation or any semblance of steadiness, what we get instead is chaos, division, and a total and
Sorry,
utter
buddy.
lack of empathy. Empathy. That's something I've been thinking a lot about lately. The ability to walk in someone else's shoes. The recognition that someone else's experience has value too. Most of us practice this without a second thought. If we see someone suffering or struggling, we don't stand in judgment.
I need to
We
get
reach
out there.
Because there, but for the grace of God, go I. It is not a hard concept to grasp. It's what we teach our children. Unlike so many of you, Barack and I have tried our best to instill in our girls a strong moral foundation to carry
Michelle,
forward the values
what up, girl?
that our parents and grandparents poured into
Fly.
us. But right now,
I
kids in
appreciate
this
you.
country are seeing what happens when we stop requiring empathy of one another. They're looking around wondering if we've been lying to them this whole time about who we are and what we truly value. They see people shouting in grocery stores, unwilling to wear a mask to keep us all safe. They see people calling the police on folks minding their own business just because of the color of their skin. They see it and tell them that only certain people belong here. That greed is good and winning is everything, because as long as you come out on top, it doesn't matter what happens to everyone else. Is ginned up into outright disdain. They see our leaders labeling fellow citizens enemies of the state, while emboldening torch-bearing white supremacists. They watch in horror as children are torn from their families and thrown into cages, and pepper spray and rubber bullets are used on peaceful protesters for a photo op.
be clear. Going high does not mean putting on a smile and saying nice things when confronted by viciousness and cruelty. Going high means taking the hard path. Scraping and claw on our way to that mountaintop. Going high means standing fierce against hatred. Remembering that we are one nation under God. And if we want to survive, we've got to find a way to live together and work together across our differences. And going high means unlocking the shackles of lies and mistrust with the only thing that can truly set us free. The cold hard truth. So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do it, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is. Now understand that my message won't be heard by some people. We live in a nation that is deeply divided, and I am a black woman speaking at the Democratic Convention. But enough of you know me by now. You know that I tell you exactly what I'm feeling. You know I hate politics. But you also know that I care about this nation. You know how much I care about all of our children. So if you take one thing from my words tonight, it is this. If you think things cannot possibly get worse, trust me, they can and they will if we don't make a change in this election. If we have any hope of ending this chaos, we have got to vote for Joe Biden like our lives depend on it. I know Joe. He is a profoundly decent man guided by faith. He was a terrific vice president. He knows what it takes to rescue an economy, beat back a pandemic, and lead our country. And he listens. He will tell the truth. And trust us, he will make smart plans.
What? No, fucking launchpad?
And he will govern as someone who could live a life the rest of us can recognize. When he was a kid,
Fuck me!
Joe's father lost his job. When he was a young senator, Joe lost his wife and his baby daughter. And when he was vice president,
And I have no launch pad. I thought I had a launch pad. I went to go put the launch pad down.
So Joe knows the
Fucking
anguish of
douchebag.
sitting at a table with an empty chair, which is why he gives his time so freely to grieving parents. Joe knows what it's like to struggle, which is why he gives his personal phone number to kids overcoming a stutter of their own. His life is a testament to getting back up. And he is going to channel that same grit and passion to pick us all up, to help us heal and guide us forward. Now, Joe is not perfect, and he'd be the first to tell you that. But there is no perfect candidate, no perfect president, and his ability to learn and grow, we find in that the kind of humility and maturity that so many of us yearn for right now. Because Joe Biden has served this nation his entire life without ever losing sight of who he is. But more than that, he has never lost sight of who we are. All of us. Joe Biden wants all of our kids to go to a good school, see a doctor when they're sick, live on a healthy planet. And he's got plans to make all of that happen. Joe Biden wants all of our kids, no matter what they look like, to be able to walk out the door without worrying about being harassed or arrested or killed. He wants all of our kids to be able to go to a movie or a math class without being afraid of getting shot. He wants all our kids to grow up with leaders who won't just serve themselves and their wealthy peers, but will provide a safety net for people facing hard times. And if we want a chance to pursue any of these goals, any of these most basic requirements for a functioning society, we have to vote for Joe Biden in numbers that cannot be ignored. Because right now, folks who know they cannot win fair and square at the ballot box are doing everything they can to stop us from voting. They're closing down polling places in minority neighborhoods. They're purging voter rolls. They're sending people out to intimidate voters, and they're lying about the security of our ballots. These tactics are not new. But this is not the time to withhold our votes in protests or play games with candidates who have no chance of winning. We have got to vote like we did in 2008 and 2012. We've got to show up with the same level of passion and hope for Joe Biden. We've got to vote early, in person if we can. We've got to request our mail-in ballots right now, tonight, and send them back immediately. And follow up to make sure they're received. And then make sure our friends and families do the same. We have got to grab our comfortable shoes, put on our masks, pack a brown bag dinner, and maybe breakfast too. Because we've got to be willing to stand in line all night if we have to. Look, we have already sacrificed so much this year. So many of you are already going that extra mile. Even when you're exhausted, you're mustering up unimaginable courage to put on those scrubs and give our loved ones a fighting chance. Even when you're anxious, you're delivering those packages, stocking those shelves, and doing all that essential work so that all of us can keep moving forward. Even when it all feels so overwhelming, working parents are somehow piecing it all together without childcare. Teachers are getting creative so that our kids can still learn and grow. Our young people are desperately fighting to pursue their dreams. And when the horrors of systemic racism shook our country and our consciences, millions of Americans of every age, every background rose up to march for each other, crying out for justice and progress. This is who we still are. Compassionate, resilient, decent people whose fortunes are bound up with one another. And it is well past time for our leaders to once again reflect our truth. So, it is up to us to add our voices and our votes to the chorus of history, echoing heroes like John Lewis, who said, "When you see something that is not right, you must say something. You must do something." That is the truest form of empathy. Not just
Where are you
feeling,
going?
but doing. Not just for ourselves or our kids, but for everyone. For all our kids. And if we want to keep the possibility of progress alive in our time, if we want to be able to look our children in the eye after this election, we have got to reassert our place in American history. And we have got to do everything we can to elect my friend Joe Biden as the next president of the United States. Thank you all.
You think Barack's gonna speak at the end of this? Last person to speak, Barack Obama or Joe Biden? Barack's gonna introduce Joe Biden, maybe? What do you think? I think that might be how it goes. Or Barack's gonna introduce Kamala, and then Kamala's gonna introduce Joe Biden.
Wow. Thank you, Michelle Obama. You are what we miss in this country. We need more of that example. Thank you so much for being part of this unconventional convention. Thanks to all of y'all who have been tuning in. It's a convention about you and for you. the American people. This is our chance to hear from those who will be leading us out of our nation out of the current crises on the economy, the pandemic, racial injustice. To listen and to learn about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's plans to bring about changes we all need. This is our chance to unite across America. In addition, we'll call the roll and we'll hear from the future First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden. I want to thank you again for joining us. Join us the rest of the week. This is your convention. This is your campaign. And we, the people, are going to save this democracy in November. Right now, Billy Porter and Stephen Stills are going to remind us what it's all worth. Good night.
First night of this virtual video version of the Democratic National Convention 2020, staying on brand for the 2020 we're having thus far. And as we welcome you to a special 2-hour edition of the 11th hour, let's begin with what we have just witnessed. My friends Rachel Maddow, Nicole Wallace, Joy Reid remain in our New York studios. Rachel, starting with you, with the caveat, nothing is normal. Your observations on night one.
I would just like to see that Michelle Obama speech all over again. I have a little bit of attention deficit when it comes to taped things, and I pay attention to the production values, and this is weird, it's off-putting and everything. It's, you know, it's hard necessarily to kind of get in the groove, and Michelle Obama started talking, and it was like a moment passed and it was over. She is absolutely riveting. As is this format in some ways. I mean, there's a lot of good moments. I thought Kisa, who spoke about her father dying of COVID, was an unbelievable moment. The 2020 candidates talking about endorsing Biden and what he meant to them, even as they competed against him. Klobuchar, Kasich, they're Jones, they're all very good. But Michelle Obama, there's nobody else like her. There's no other public figure like her in the world. And that 18 some odd minutes that she just spoke about the country and about President Trump and about Joe Biden, let me be as honest and as clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong person for our country. He's had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he's clearly cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is. You could imagine those words coming from anybody and they would mean X. Coming from Michelle Obama, it means something qualitatively different. I thought that was just a riveting speech.
Nicole Wallace?
I think that she said something that the only thing she said that I'm not sure I buy is she said, I'm a black woman speaking at a Democratic convention. I know some people might not listen to me. I think she might be wrong. I think every parent in America heard what she said, and it was like being scolded by the good cop parent, right? You know, we know she's right, and maybe we'll do something different. And if you slice this evening this way, if you take Kasich, Meg Whitman, and Susan Molinari, they're not the speeches that are going to generate headlines or sound bites, but if you peel off and you remember that everybody's home, and Fox News dipped in and out, but they did take John Kasich. I'm pretty sure they did take Michelle Obama. And if you look at what they are saying, you take the substance of what she said, and you play that in every living room in America, I'm not sure we know what we don't know about what happens next.
Joy Reid.
Yeah, I mean, I hear, and I just second and third everything that's just been said here. Riveting. Michelle Obama is riveting, was riveting. One of the best speeches I've heard her give, and I've heard her give many speeches. It was brilliant in that it wasn't really personal about Donald Trump. It was simply saying, this is a really difficult job being president. It's hard, and he's just not capable of doing it. He's just not up to the job. It is
is what it is, right? I mean, she literally said this job requires you to, navigate America's image in the world. Look at our image in the world. They're looking at us and wondering what happened to us. Who in the hell are we? They're looking at us and saying, maybe America is incapable. She said we are underperforming. This is a businessy buzzword that's going to give us Donald Trump's skin, but that is what we're doing. We in the world, after World War II, were the fulcrum of democracy in the world. And now we are a country that is pitied. So it wasn't personal. She said, listen, nothing against you, Donald Trump, but this job is too hard for you. That is a great case for an exhaustion election. Because there are a lot of people who may think they like Donald Trump for whatever reason. Maybe he's just not good at this. That's the message he had. He's just not good.
And when she said, if you take one thing from my words today, after she said, I guess you just pointed out, Nicole, that, maybe there are people who can't hear me, who can't listen to me tonight. She said, if you take one thing from my words tonight, it is this. And I thought it was going to be something about, like, Soul of America, no, it's the scariest moment of the night. If you think things cannot possibly get worse, trust me, they can, and they will, if we don't make a change in this election. Michelle Obama does not talk like that. And for her to have said that after saying, like, listen, whether or not you can hear me, I need to tell you something, having seen the presidency up close. I mean, my heart dropped about 4 inches in my chest. I mean, we did. We all got scared. We all got very quiet. We were very quiet.
But here's the thing. She also, Brian, and you'll appreciate this, she delivered epic shade. It is what it is. Was the line that Donald Trump had about death, and every single death, every single American life lost in this pandemic is the destruction of an entire family unit, of a universe, of a community, of a school, if it was a teacher, of a hospital, if it was a doctor. So for her to throw that back at him was elegant, but epic shade.
Well, and she also made this
Epic
case where, back when, in 2008, when Barack Obama was running, Republicans tried to accuse her of not loving the country. She made the loving case for change. She said, I love the country, and what I love about it is our capacity to be good. So she was the scolding mom, but she was also the good mom. She was like, I'm telling you, I know you can do better than this. I know you can do better. And that is a message that actually might break through, because the point is, again, everyone knows it's a catastrophe, right? Everyone admits it's a catastrophe. The question is, does the person who's currently president have the capacity to lift us out of it and have the capacity to turn it around? She said, I've been near the president. I've worked with Joe Biden. I've seen people who can do this. This man can't do it. And if he can't do it, it's going to get much worse for all of us. It is a really strong message. It helps Joe Biden. But I have to say, the part where she said, I don't even like politics. Right. I'm not even here because I even like politics. I'm here because I'm trying to say, this is come with me if you want to live.
And I don't like politics, but let me give you very specific instructions on what needs to happen here in a way that a very unformer First Lady turned in the speech. She said, we've got to grab our comfortable shoes, put on our masks, pack a brown bag dinner, and maybe breakfast too, because we have got to be willing to stand in line all night if we have to. We have got to vote early, in person if we can. We've got to request our mail-in ballots right now tonight and send them back immediately and follow up to make sure they're received, make sure our friends and families do the same. I mean, her spelling it out like that, I mean, she's literally calling for people to do stuff tonight, and people are doing it because that's Michelle Obama saying it.
That is how pastors the Sunday before the election are going to sound. She preached a word tonight, and I'm pretty sure everyone was as silent listening to that in their living rooms and sitting up straight when she began speaking.
I mean, we are all goofballs, and the whole night we're all like, the whole time, and then Michelle Obama starts talking, and we're all like,
well, and Brian, the other point is that there's nobody on the Republican side, and certainly nobody available to Donald Trump, that will do anything close to what she just did.
I mean, I just throw one other thing in there that, there was a lot of sort of back and forth about how much diversity was going to be there, were there going to be enough Latinx people there, and, the inclusion factor. Somebody tweeted, it's not an original thought, but just seeing the just raw diversity of everyone who spoke tonight, just seeing that and realizing that is the America that Biden and Harris, that's what they're fighting for. That's what people are fighting for. This is future America. It'll be interesting to contrast that when it's the Republicans' turn, because they're not going to be able to reproduce that. Even the musical performances, the culture was actually part of the convention. And the culture is so distant from what Republicans and what Trump has become, they can't reproduce that. And they sure as hell don't have a Michelle Obama. Well, they could have Clint Eastwood yell at a chicken. That was a very...
Clint Eastwood and the chair. Oh my God.
Brian, we're breaking down here.
I just looked up your point about Clint Eastwood talking to a chair. That's been done, it turns out. I've got this, yeah.
Everybody, all right. Get back in the box. Everyone, you've been thinking too far outside the box. Get back in the box.
A couple of years back, apparently. But you could have Googled it, but the task fell to me. Thank you, friends. Guess what? We get to do this again tomorrow night. Rachel Maddow, Nicole Wallace, Joy Reid. And you at home, good evening once again. Day 13.
What evening, Brian Wallace, Lion Brian?
Of the Trump administration, 78
How are
days
you,
until
Lion?
presidential election, night 1 of the Democratic National Convention.
Still lying through
Because
your
of the
teeth,
pandemic
Mr.
that's
Lion
still
Brian.
spreading across our country, this was,
Making
as
stories
you
up
know,
about
the
being
first
attacked
ever
in helicopter
Zoom
warfare.
meeting of a convention. As of tonight, there
That
have
didn't
been,
happen.
lest we need the reminder,
That
over
I remember.
5.4 million cases
You were
of
kind of
coronavirus
an important
discovered in our
person, so we
country,
kept
with
you
over
away from all of the battle.
171,000 of our fellow citizens
Brian.
dead. The pandemic was, of course,
That
a
might be the
major
last
topic
one.
in tonight's
That might be the
convention.
last one. Let's just
Tonight's
go after
keynote
it.
speaker, as you've been hearing, former First Lady Michelle Obama, said President Trump downplayed the virus for too long, and she added this.
As honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is.
Here for our lead-off discussion on this very busy Monday night. Pulitzer Prize-winning White House bureau chief for the Washington Post, co-author along with his stable colleague Carol Leonnig of the bestseller A Very Stable Genius. Also with us, Claire McCaskill, former Democratic senator from the great state of Missouri, and Erin Haynes, 10-year veteran of the Associated Press, where she last covered race and society. These days, she is editor-at-large for the 19th, a nonprofit, nonpartisan newsroom focused on gender, politics, and policy. It's up. Go look at it. Good evening and welcome to you all. Senator, it strikes me that during normal times, I would have made my way down to the Missouri delegation at some point and interviewed one Claire McCaskill. I would ask you whether or not you think the American people have 4 nights of this in them, what you thought of the format, and what you thought of the former First Lady.
Well, I don't know if America has 4 nights of this in them. I thought it was pretty effective. I thought that the music was terrific. I think there was an ability to message with the video clips that I think really was quite powerful. And then there's Michelle. Wow. Now, the thing I missed most about not having a convention tonight, a real convention, was the response she would have. Her speech would have taken a lot longer. Because there would have, and you know, there would have been many interruptions of people expressing a great deal of affirmation about what she said. And I got to tell you, her speech was so effective because she didn't frontally go after Donald Trump. As Nicole just said, it was epic shade, but it was elegant shade. I mean, a couple of the lines that struck me, Joe Biden has lived a life the rest of us can recognize. Well, that is really shade for Donald Trump, because we all know he's lived a life that most of us don't recognize. And then she said that Joe Biden has the humility and maturity we long for. Once again, pointing out that we've got a guy in the White House who wouldn't know humble if it hit him upside the head, and it has the maturity of a 12-year-old. So I think that she did a really good job of not only calling everyone to action, but doing the character analysis of the two key.
Wow, look at these fucking double stacked.
Of course, I think she came in very strong with Joe Biden.
Hey, Claire, what'd you think of Kasich and his presence at this gathering tonight? When I saw that earlier today the president
obviously going to do nothing but rail on him. I think it was courageous for him to do it. It was interesting to me that we had around 15 speakers tonight, and not that many of them were white men, and one of the white men was a Republican. So it really was a diverse group of speakers tonight, including ideology, everything from John Kasich, Meg Whitman, all the way to Bernie Sanders.
Hey, Aaron, I think regular citizens would be forgiven for having forgotten Michelle Obama started life as a Princeton, Harvard law person. That Michelle Obama is the Michelle Obama that showed up tonight. Talk about the role you think she will play after tonight, perhaps live and not on video, as this, whatever this campaign is going to look like, continues.
Well, Brian, no, I actually think that you saw a little bit of Michelle LaVaughn Robinson tonight. I mean, yes, she still reiterated that 2016 catchphrase that caught
What's going on?
We go high, but tonight she went in and was calling President hardly by name at all. She made the case for why he was not as his predecessor and why she thinks, that the person that she hopes is going to be his successor should be in the White House in November. She spoke as a black woman who has said things that I hear black women saying when they are rallying and organizing the vote in their community.
This is the last one, come on. I don't know why it wouldn't let me get those fucking coconuts, eat them, do anything with them.
Be prepared to wait in line. I mean, this is what black women do headed into an election. Telling people in their network, the importance of casting their ballot. You saw all of that on display tonight. In addition to a program leading up to her speech that was centered on voters and really laying out the face of this election in terms of the dual pandemics of coronavirus and racism, the threat of voter suppression that is happening, through the post office. I'm thinking about when she said, we know what's going on in this country is just not right. I mean, that was a message not necessarily meant to speak to the base, but for some of those people who maybe would have read her book or come to her bookstore, right? Maybe didn't vote for her husband, but resonate with her and believe and trust her. And so I really think, as I wrote tonight on the 19th, that there's a time vote and the thing that should be activated tonight by one of the most popular people in this country, that being our former First Lady.
There is indeed a reason why she is always at number 1 or 2 most popular women in the world. Hey, Phil Rucker, how do we measure the effect of this gathering on Donald Trump?
Well, I think the next 24 hours are going to tell the story, Brian. We have not seen the president tonight, live tweeting his responses, but we know he's been watching. We know he's going to be consuming the television coverage, as he always does. And he might put on a display of exactly what Michelle Obama was talking about in terms of attacking those who were criticizing him on stage tonight. And the former First Lady has gotten a lot of attention. Probably the most searing indictment anybody has delivered of the Trump presidency all of these years. But there was an earlier moment as well that I think has the potential to really get at Donald Trump, and that was the young woman from Arizona who talked about her father, 65 years old, who died of COVID after going to a karaoke bar in May after the state of Arizona started to reopen. And she had one quote that I think we're going to hear a lot again, and it was that her father only had one pre-existing condition, and that was trusting Donald Trump. So directly blaming his death on the president, and that is something that I suspect the president is not too keen to hear.
Great thanks to our guests, especially for your patience as the night drew on and we were waiting to come on to the air. Phil Rucker, Claire McCaskill, Aaron Haynes, always a pleasure. Thank you. Coming up for us, they were once rivals on the campaign trail. Tonight they came together in a sign of party unity. Senator